questions? We will be as researchers and academicians, we will be using the term bibliography and references. Please note that both are different. They are used as synonymous words, words giving similar meaning but not the same meaning. What is bibliography and what is reference? I have seen research scholars using bibliographical reference. No, it has to be either bibliography or reference. Very important one. Where to use references, where to use bibliography. Bibliography means list of sources consulted. ನಾವು ಓದಿದೀವಿ ಅದನ್ನ, ಆದರೆ ಎಲ್ಲನೂ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನ ಮಾಹಿತಿ ತಗೊಂಡಿಲ್ಲ. All those sources come under bibliography. Bibliography means list of sources consulted. References means list of sources cited or referred. We have taken a definition, we have taken some statistics, we have taken certain tables. For having taken a definition, we are citing the source. All such sources come under references. Usually references will be at the end of every chapter in thesis, and bibliography will be at the end of the thesis. ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಬಹಳ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಆಗಿ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಏನಾದ್ರು ಡೌಟ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಕೇಳಿ. ಬಿಬ್ಲಿಯೋಗ್ರಫಿ ಬೇರೆ, ರೆಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಬೇರೆ, ಎರಡು ಒಂದೇ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೋಬೇಡಿ.
ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ನನಗೆ.
ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ವಾ, ಮೂವ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ವಾ?
ಸರ್ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಸ್ಲೈಡ್
ಬರ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್.
ಈಗ ಬರ್ತಿದೆ ಸರ್.
ಬರ್ತಿದೆ ಸರ್, ಈಗ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ.
Bibliography and references. Bibliography means list of sources consulted. We have not taken any definition. They are highly relevant to our topic of research, usually at the end of the thesis. References means for having taken a definition, a table, statistics, we are citing the source. All such sources come under references. References will be usually at the end of every chapter. Not called reference ಬೇರೆ, bibliography ಬೇರೆ. One must be good in rendering references manually. If you are not good in rendering references manually, capital letter, small letter, surname, forename, initials, then punctuation mark, comma, colon, semicolon, and all that, one uniformity and consistency should be followed according to the reference type. If you are not good in rendering references, you may rely upon software. There are reference managers. Reference managers anta software ಇದೆ. If you throw the entire bibliography data to that software, it will arrange according to the referencing style. If you select a referencing style, Harvard system, Oxford system, APA style, it will arrange, all the software will arrange automatically. The sequence, the punctuation mark, everything it will arrange systematically by the software. There is a software by name EndNote, product of Clarivate Analytics. Earlier it was with Thomson and Reuters. Then Mendeley. Both are highly used. Mendeley is the product of Elsevier. Both are American software packages. A reference manager. Zotero is open source, free software. You put all your bibliography or references to Zotero. If there are any mistakes, it will rectify automatically, including comma, full stop, colon, capital letter, small letter, everything it will arrange systematically. There is another software called Papers, the product of Springer, another publisher. These are the four popular reference managers being used everywhere. Why do scholars plagiarize? ಕೃತಿಚೌರ್ಯ ಏನ್ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ. ಒಂದು ಲ್ಯಾಕ್ ಆಫ್ ನಾಲೆಡ್ಜ್, ಪೂರ್ ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಸ್ಕಿಲ್, ಲ್ಯಾಕ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಮಾಂಡ್ ಓವರ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್, ಲೇಜಿನೆಸ್, ಫಿಯರ್ ಆಫ್ ಫೇಲ್ಯೂರ್, ಲ್ಯಾಕ್ ಆಫ್ ಟೈಮ್, pressure to publish, desire to get recognition, to influence others. The main reason is poor expression or lack of command over language. When the researcher cannot write on his own, he will try to copy the content from published source or from internet. In Mysore city, we have scanned 3,600 doctoral theses for plagiarism check. In about 11% of the thesis, there is similar content beyond tolerance limit, beyond 30%, only in 11% out of 100, out of 3,600, only in 11% of the cases, similar content is beyond 30%. Mysore city has fixed 30% as tolerance limit by the university. So lack of command over language is one of the causes. Lack of knowledge may be another cause. While coming to anti-plagiarism software, there are 12 anti-plagiarism software, popular one. Authenticate, Turnitin, Right Check. First three are from the same company, iParadigms, California, USA. They have monopolized throughout the world. Authenticate is extensively used in research institute and to scan doctoral thesis. Turnitin is for student submission, dissertations, etc. Right Check is also for the same purpose, extensively used in schools to see the assignments of students. Viper is an open source software, free software, which is time consuming. Flagaway, a German software. FlagScan and Urkund. These two are very popular software. Urkund was recommended by UGC. UGC promoted authenticated Turnitin during 2014 and 15. 16 to 2021, it recommended Urkund. We relied upon Urkund. March 2021, FlagScan of Germany and Urkund of Sweden, they joined together. Now they have come out with original software, combined expertise. Now this original software has been purchased by Turnitin in India. So Docolot, Germany, Plagiarism Checker, Flag Tracker, and Drillbit, as I already mentioned. Drillbit, you can scan a regional language, manuscript, and thesis. It will cover whatever that is there freely on the internet. They have not purchased ebooks, e-journals, e-thesis. They have not purchased conference and seminar proceedings. Whatever that is there on internet as free content, it will cover only that much. Drillbit. The first three are very important, highly authoritative. The only anti-plagiarism software available in the world, reliable, authoritative anti-plagiarism software means either Turnitin or Authenticate. Both are from the same company. The database coverage is 70 billion pages. 1 billion is equal to 100 crore. 100 into 70, 7,000 crore pages. It will scan, it will verify and gives the report in 15 minutes. It will tell you what percentage of the content is your original and what percentage of the content you have copied, and from where you have copied, the software will identify. So very comprehensive and very authoritative anti-plagiarism software means Authenticate and Turnitin. That original software is being used in 300 universities. It is recommended by UGC, and last time it was with Urkund and FlagScan. Now it is taken over by Turnitin. So though Authenticate is an authoritative #1 software, there are a number of features. In the folder option, you can mention some of the sentences. Those sentences, wherever it appears in the thesis, it will get automatically excluded. It will not come under plagiarism check. That point is there. And if the quoted text is beyond 15%, the software will indicate. So Authenticate, the database covers 1,15,000 journals. 1,15,000 journals they have purchased. 70 billion web pages, 45 million items of ebooks, e-journal article, conference proceedings. Very huge database. very authoritative. Turnitin and authenticate. It will allow scanning of content in 30 languages of the world, covering English, Chinese, Japanese, French, German, Italian, Swedish, Greek, Russian. 30 languages of the world is covered by Authenticate and Turnitin. You can scan theses or research articles written in 30 languages of the world. What does it cover? It covers internet content. If you copy content from internet, definitely it will be highlighted. Then some of the important conference and seminar proceedings, then research reports, research papers, journals they have purchased, popular periodical, and whatever that is available in that institute, whatever that is available in Mysore University also covered. The coverage of the content by the software. Please note that the software will not identify graphics, photographs, then images. If you copy any image or photograph, software will not identify. It will identify only the textual content. If you copy a photograph, it will not identify. In Mysore city, there is a case before Karnataka High Court. One of the researcher has complained that a writer has copied my Rangoli designs. 70% of my Rangoli designs from my PhD thesis has been copied and published. There is a complaint before Karnataka High Court. And recently, the registrar evaluation has asked us to come with the thesis loaded onto the laptop. We went there with the thesis, loaded on laptop. We went to the portion of conclusion. There were 6 pages of conclusion. He said out of 6 pages, you see 5 pages he has taken from Wikipedia. How can you take content from Wikipedia for conclusion? No. Again, he went to the portion of recommendations. There were 6 recommendations. Again, he said, do you see recommendation 2, 3, 4 he has taken from Wikipedia? No. You ask the researcher to meet me and you also inform the guide to meet me. So, conclusions, recommendations, further scope of research, findings of research, analysis and interpretation of data has to be original. That is your original, your contribution. There is no provision for similar content or copied content. But there is possibility of copied content or similar content in introductory chapter, like definitions, methodology, high objectives of research, review of literature. You are taking the content of so many researchers and about the organization or about the institution, you cannot create the information. About the organization or institution, you have to take the content either from printed source or what is available on internet. So all these come under preliminary chapter. Similar content is accepted. Usually nobody will complain that one if it is there under introduction or review of literature or in a preliminary chapter. But core chapter, analysis and interpretation of data, findings of research, recommendations, further scope of research, conclusion, all these have to be original. All this has to be original. There is exclude option also. You are, so as a researcher, you are expected to submit from introduction to conclusion, that's all, including bibliography and references. Yeah, you are supposed to exclude preliminary chapter, abstract, introduction, acknowledgement, certificate, declaration, all these you have to exclude. Together with appendix part, glossary of terms, questionnaire, interview schedule, all this you may exclude. Appendix part you can exclude, introductory part you can exclude. You are supposed to cover from introduction to bibliography, all certificate, declaration, etc. to be excluded. And appendix part, questionnaire, interview schedule, glossary of terms, we can explore. So from introduction to conclusion, including bibliography, you can, if you want, you can explore methodology also. In Mysore city, we were exploring methodology in the beginning. We thought of exploring methodology. There was a complaint from Central Sericulture Research Institute. Your researcher has copied my methodology, which is a patented document. Without my permission, your researcher is not supposed to copy my methodology. He has not only tried to copy my methodology, but he has misinterpreted my methodology. There is a complaint. Therefore, we started including methodology also for scanning. Please note that I would like to bring to your kind attention that 30%, 25% tolerance limit fixed by universities is not plagiarized content. It is similar content. Similar content. Sometimes even if you quote, some of the lines and sentences will be highlighted. All those content will be considered as similar content. Plagiarized content, there is not, you are supposed to include not even a single sentence without citation. Kruti Chaurya, 1% ಒಂದು ಲೈನು ಇರೋಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಕೃತಿ ಚೌರ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ ಅವಕಾಶವೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ there is difference between similar content and plagiarized content. So repercussions of plagiarism. One simple question. All right, if I copy up to 75%, what is going to happen to me? What action the university is going to initiate against me? UGC Implement Center director took a session in Manas Gangotri a few years ago. He said, day for yesterday we scanned the thesis for plagiarism check. The similar content was to the extent of 98%. You see, 98%. Further, he said 98% of similar content, I think probably the title might be original. Only the title might be original. Therefore, it is depicting 2% of originality, he was telling. So, repercussions of software. All right, what is going to happen to me if the content is plagiarized content? Immediate failure of research, retraction of research paper, withdrawal of research paper, blacklisting of scientists and institutions as well. Subject of discussion in forums. It is punishable in the court of law. Value of research is questionable. These are the repercussions of plagiarism cases. Benson Honig says there are a lot of incentives for people to cut corners to try and get something published. Their jobs, their career, and their reputations could be on the line. ಏನೋ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೋಗಿ ಕೃತಿ ಚೌರ್ಯ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಅವೆಲ್ಲ ಕಾಂಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ಸ್ ಎದುರಿಸ್ಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಬೆನ್ಸನ್ ಹೋನಿಗ್ ಅವನ ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯ ಪಡ್ತಾನೆ. Now we are going to take the example of Gutenberg. Gutenberg was the defense minister about 5 years ago. He wanted to submit a PhD thesis to Bayreuth University. But fortunately, he submitted the thesis, he got PhD degree. But unfortunately, he had copied 66 paragraphs from student dissertation. 66 paragraphs. 17,000 students wrote complaint to German Chancellor. Then he was made to resign to the post of German Defense Ministry, and the thesis was withdrawn. The doctorate degree was also withdrawn. This was the case of Gutenberg. Repercussion was loss of job. He lost the job of Defense Ministry. Revoked PhD. PhD was withdrawn, thrown out from the university, Bayreuth University. There was lawsuit against him. His integrity was questioned at stake. Reputation is damaged, brand name is damaged, retraction of research paper, loss of talents, and loss of resources invested on research. Then another case of a German education minister, Anna Schaven. She also submitted a doctoral thesis to the university. She got PhD degree, but there was a case of plagiarism. Unfortunately, the university withdrew the degree. She went and complained to the German Chancellor, Angela Merkel. He said, if you want to defend your case, you can approach the court of law. This was the case of the education minister. Now we are looking into the case of Mexico president, Penna Nieto. Very interesting. You see what he says. Whatever I have copied, don't say it is plagiarized content. Whatever I have copied is 25 years old. Why do you bother? Very old content. Why do you bother? No relevance today. Secondly, don't say it is plagiarized content. It is only style error. You see how he defends. He wants to defend with the specific terms. Not plagiarized content. It is only style error. Whatever I copied is not the latest one. It is 25 years old. Don't bother. So this was the case of Penna Nieto, Mexican president. Now I am into the case of Anil Potti of Duke University. This is not pertaining to plagiarism. This is research ethics. Published a number of research papers in very prestigious journals. Nature Medicine, Lancet Oncology, Blood and Plasma. High impact factor journal, very prestigious journal, but all cooked up data, false data. Please note that if you prepare research article with false data, unreliable data, especially in the field of medicine and pharmacology, it is going to have impact on patients, unfortunately. So case of Anil Potti, the biggest medical research fraud ever come across. He was suspended from Duke University. South California Medical Board website list Potti as suspended, then recants. Then case of Stapel, professor of psychology, Tilburg University, Netherlands. Out of 20 years of fake research, published 55 papers, guided 11 plus doctoral cases, got huge amount of funds for research, but Tilburg University suspended him for research misconduct. Fraud, the fraud who fooled almost everyone. Case of chemistry professor, university in Andhra Pradesh banned the chemistry professor accused of plagiarizing almost 70 research papers during 2004 and 2007, published in Elsevier, very prestigious journal in Talent, Science Direct, Analytica Chemical and other. And further he says, during inquiry, he was trying to throw the blame on a student. You see, usually guides want to throw the blame on students. Case of Craig Grimm's, National Institute of Health and Advanced Research. Measurement of gases in a patient's blood, but clinical trials were never performed and the fraud were misappropriated, largely out of falsification, fabrication, charged with making false statement, money laundering and fraud. He faced 35 years of imprisonment and a fine of 7,50,000. You see, very interesting. Here is a case of 180 retracted papers linked to 28,000 patients. Please see if there is cooked up data in the field of medicine, health and pharmacology, definitely it is going to have impact on patients. Very bad impact on patients. Now case of Deepak Das, Director of Cardiovascular Research Center, Connecticut, USA. Out of frustration and tension because of plagiarism scandal, he suffered stroke and died at the age of 67. Died at the age of 67. Plain, a French physicist, plagiarized content of a dozen scientists, philosophers and writers. Finally, you see what he says. I have no problem with quoting someone, but I am being blamed due to negligence in my file management. No. My scientific integrity is absolute. I don't want to be judged by the press, but according to the French law. You see how they want to defend their case. Rajput V.C. Kumaran, University of Nainital, Stanford University, was shocked at blatant plagiarism. He resigned to the post of Vice Chancellor. Rajput, Vice Chancellor of Kumaran University, Kumaran University, Nainital. Case of Surya, she was a lawyer. She practiced law for almost 22 years. Then she started writing books. But there was plagiarized content in number of pages, but he was accused of plagiarized content. Now this is very interesting case of J.K. Rowling. You have heard of her. Highest number of copies sold, Harry Potter. She published 7 books. She was very poor, living hand to mouth in utter poverty and misery. In a span of 11 years, she earned to the tune of only on account of translation, she earned to the tune of $1,600 million. She became rich. Her richness was compared to the richness of queens and kings. When her books were transported from printing press to the market, the dacoits attacked the trucks and looted the books on the highway. My colleague was telling, we have come across dacoits looting gold, silver, and diamond. So far, we have not come across dacoits looting books. So the case of J.K. Rowling, there was a case of plagiarized content in her books. The judge acquitted the case. He gave the judgment regarding the ghost. Ghost appears suddenly. Ghosts disappear suddenly. Ghosts make noise. All these are common to ghost stories of ghosts in almost all novels. Therefore, your complaint that there is plagiarized content cannot be accepted. This was the verdict given by the judge. Matthew Whitaker, professor of Arizona State University, Department of Management, he said, my colleagues were upset because I got promotion, therefore my colleagues were upset. He got $268,000 contract by police department to provide training. For training, he prepared 84 slides. Out of 84 slides, he copied 52 slides from police department. Again, there was plagiarized content. Case of Kavya Vishwanathan in the field of literature, very popular novelist. She copied the content from very old novels published during 1920s and 30s. Though old, the publishers, Little Brown, they traced the content and she was made to accept the case. Emma Thompson, accused of blatant plagiarism by journalist John Hiscock. The contents used without attribution in her screenplay's drama. Now I am coming to the case of professors of law. They wrote number of books in the field of law and related subject without bibliography and without references. So very important. Recently, one of the principal secretaries, he gave me a report. You see the report and gave me your comments. I said you have written very good report, quoting the text of UNESCO, UNIDO, WHO, and all. But there is no bibliography, there is no reference. Then he said, why do you need reference? Why do you need bibliography? I said, you are taking the content from so many sources, but there is no citation. Then he said, you only prepare citation for me. I prepared bibliography for his book. So bibliography is very important. References are very important. If you write a research article or book, there should be references and bibliography. This is a very interesting case of South Korea universities. 179 professors, what they have done, they have taken 38 American textbooks belonging to engineering disciplines and chemistry. What they have done, they have removed the outer cover page, they have removed the title page, they have replaced the outer cover page with their names and distributed among the students of the campus. Now they are facing criminal charges. 179 professors from 110 universities are facing criminal charges in South Korea. Now, this is a case of Taylor and Francis. Taylor and Francis, they regularly publish 1,400 journals regularly. Now, if they receive 100 research papers, they are returning 23 papers because of similar content beyond tolerance limit. So in case of journal, it should be less than 10 to 15%. Now, while coming to doctoral thesis, preliminary chapters are introduction, review of literature, methods and material, profile of institution, and publications of the researcher. Similar content is expected here. Introduction, you cannot write on your own. It is not your research finding. Review of literature, what others have done in your discipline during the past 30, 40 years. Methods and materials will be somewhat similar. Profile of the institution, you cannot create whatever that is already there, that you have to write with your explanation and comments. So similar content is expected in this preliminary. However, similar content is not expected here. Plagiarized content should not be in these core chapters. Analysis and interpretation of data, testing of hypothesis, findings and discussion, recommendations, further scope of research, conclusion. There is no provision for similar content here, except a similar study was conducted by so and so in Australia 2 years ago. He arrived at the same findings. Except such of these sentences, everything will be original, your contribution of the researcher. And what is new in the thesis, you will come across in these core chapters. In case of research article, except in the first two, background and introduction, including definition, rest of the portions have to be original, your own contribution. Bulk of the thesis has drastically reduced nowadays. Earlier in Mysore city, the bulk of the thesis used to be 150 to 300 pages. Now it has come down to 130 to 170 pages. Nobody wants to write introduction more than 20-25 pages. Review of literature more than 30-40 pages. If you write review of literature more than 100 pages, definitely similar content will be beyond 50%. Introduction, if you write 100 pages, similar content will be beyond 40%. So bulk of the thesis has drastically come down. You write your contribution. If somebody has explained beautifully in 20 pages, there is no need of bringing all those 20 pages into your thesis. Such an author has explained beautifully in this source, that's enough. Cite this source, that's enough. That is the contention of the UGC. You are not writing a book. There is a difference between writing a book and writing a research paper. Writing a book means definition, types, and all that systematically covering all chapters you will be writing. In case of research report, it starts with a problem. What is the problem? What are the findings? What are the data you have collected? What are the conclusions? That's all. So there is difference between writing a book and writing a research report. Content for plagiarism submit, plagiarism check, you are supposed to submit what I already told you from introduction to bibliography, that's all. Introduction to conclusion. Then your contribution, your findings should be there in the thesis. UGC wants you to write your findings and your contribution. If somebody has written beautifully, you just cite this source. There is no need of bringing all those pages, all those content into your thesis. Then you have to sign below this statement. Both the guides and the researchers have to sign below the statement. Adequate measures have been taken to ensure originality of research output. You have to sign below the statement. Similar and plagiarized content. Similar content is different, plagiarized content is different. Papers of researcher and guide, that will be excluded. If it is similar content taken from the published research papers of scholars and guide, that will be excluded. If it is beyond accepted tolerance limit, 30%, then the researcher will be asked to revise and resubmit the thesis. Plagiarism check should not be mistaken for fault finding mission. Many of the students are thinking that it is fault finding mission. They are trying to find out fault in us. No, it is a fact finding exercise. You can rectify the statement. If you are not sure of the quotation, the software will give you the exact quotation. You can rectify your citation, bibliography. If you are not sure of the publisher, place of publication, year of publication, name of the author, you can rectify. Software will give you the exact name, year of publication, and all those details. We can rectify. Then you can avoid plagiarism, accidental plagiarism. If there is any accidental plagiarism, the software will identify. Either if it is not so important, you can exclude the paragraph. If it is so important, you render citation and retain the content. You can trace the original. Who is the original author of this idea? The software will give you the trace the original idea. You can reduce the percentage of similar content. If similarity is 30%, 25%, you can reduce to 10%. UGC recommends 10%. In many guides, they do not accept if it is beyond 10%. So UGC recommendation is similar content should not be beyond 10%. You can reduce percentage of similar content so that quality of thesis will be high. You can improve the originality of research. These are the advantages of relying upon the software. It is not fault finding mission. It is fact finding exercise. UGC has come out with a notification, basic notification way back in August 2018. Orientation should be given to research scholars, postgraduate students, and teachers. Then it says quoted information with attribution. Okay, no problem. Included information with permission. Yes. References, bibliography, preface, table of content, acknowledgement, glossary of terms may be excluded. You need not bring all this for plagiarism check. All generic terms, laws, acts, standard symbols, equations may be excluded. Consecutive 14 words. How does the software work? It goes word by word. Up to 14 words, if you copy, the software will not highlight. If you copy the 15th word, it will highlight from 1 to 15. This is the mechanism being followed. So summary and abstract you can exclude. That need not be brought under scanning. These are the stipulation of UGC. UGC said 10% is the tolerance limit. For repeated plagiarism scandal, the increment of the guide has to be withheld. The increment of the guide has to be withheld for repeated plagiarism scandal. This is very important. The guide will see for the second time before putting his signature. Plagiarism in research could cost degrees jobs because the degrees will be withdrawn, the content will be withdrawn, the research papers will be withdrawn. Many journal publishers, they say, the article published in a previous issue stands withdrawn. Like that you will see. So how to overcome plagiarism? Paraphrase. If you want to copy the content of some author, if it is in 2-3 pages, you paraphrase the content. Paraphrase, write briefly in your own language, quoting the source. Don't put quotation mark for 2 or 3 pages of content. It doesn't look nice. Second, citing is very important. If you want the content of others, then you include with citation. You put the name of the author, name of the title of the source, place of publication, name of the publisher, year of publication should be cited. In case of journals, author, title of the article, name of the journal, volume number, issue number, date of publication, starting page of the article and ending page of the article. So any information if you want to take from other sources, It should be with citations. Then quoting, if you want to take the sentences as it is, if you see the sentences explained by some of the scientists are very beautiful. If you want to take the sentences as it is very good. Very good. Quoting is very good. That should be within quotation mark, followed by references, followed by citation. So quoting is very important. Too much of quoting doesn't look nice. Then citing your own source. If you have already published, if you have already said somewhere else, you bring it under references. You cite your own source to avoid self-plagiarism. Otherwise, the people will think for the first time you are telling this one, this definition you are giving for the first time. No, you have already given 2 years ago. Therefore, just should be brought under references with citation. Then referencing system. You should follow one systematic referencing system. Uniformity and consistency should be followed. At one place, you are rendering according to APA. At another place, you are rendering according to Oxford system of referencing. At another place, you are following IEEE format. No, it doesn't look nice. One uniformity to be followed. You stick to one referencing style, either APA or Harvard system of referencing or IEEE format. Any chosen format, you maintain uniformity everywhere. So there are certain technical terms which come under research ethics. One is honesty. Honesty in reporting methods and materials used. Sometimes people say we have used this methodology, we have used this material, thus material will not be available in that institution at all. Falsification. Integrity, keep your promises and arguments. Your thoughts and actions should be in one line. Thoughts and actions should be in one line. Objectivity, avoid bias in experimental design, data analysis, interpretation, and review. Then intellectual property, you should quote, may give respect to copyright laws, etc. Confidentiality, those who give responses, those who give data, feedback, opinion, you should maintain their confidentiality. Use their opinion only for research work. Accountability. Regarding expenditure incurred, submit account sincerely and properly with due responsibility. Give justification and explain what research you did and why. Researchers who are funded by public money can be held accountable to the public. Openness, be open to criticism and accept suggestions and new ideas. Very important. If there are any objections, if there are any comments, if there are any criticisms, carefully listen and ponder over that one. To try to solve that one. Probably that may be the question asked during Viva was. Okay. Then legality, understand and obey law of the institutional and governmental policies. Social responsibility, strive to promote the social good and prevent social harms by research. Anyone care concern? Then protection of human subject. When conducting research on human subject, avoid harm and risk. Respect human dignity and privacy. Let there be informed consent. Informed consent. It should be consent. Informed consent. Non-discrimination. Avoid discrimination against colleagues, students on bias of caste, sex, race, ethnicity. Avoid criticisms and abuse. Responsible mentoring. So, any questions? Any clarifications you can ask. Research ethics and prevention of plagiarism, tools and techniques. We are in Mysore city, we have used Authenticate, we have used Termitin, we have used Urkund, we have used original software, we have used Viper, so many, about 6 software packages we have used at Mysore city. We have scanned nearly 3,600 doctoral thesis for plagiarism check. So any questions you can ask, please.
Good evening, sir. Dr. Murugesh, sir.
Namaskar.
Sir, what about AI tool, sir? Is there showing that artificial AI deduction and then plagiarism by using of AI
Very good
nowadays?
question. Very good question. Recently, 6 months ago, the proprietor of Turnitin anti-plagiarism software of iParadigm, California, USA, they are telling if you bring the content from artificial intelligence website, that will be identified by our software. It will be identified by the software Turnitin if you carry the content from artificial intelligence.
Then what kind of methods we can, sir, suppose if we using, then what is the solution for that?
Again, you can say it is creativity. Again, you have to think of that one. Before adding that content, the researcher has to be very intelligent. Very at appropriate place only you can include. So if you say Mahatma Gandhi holding walking stick, immediately it will give a picture. ChatGPT. Immediately, if you ask Mahatma Gandhi holding AK-47, immediately it will give a picture. So you should be very intelligent and see whether that information is appropriate to add here, and you have to test that information before you are telling that you are a researcher.
Sir, ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನ ಇಂಪ್ರೂವೈಸ್ ನಾವು ಕೆಲವೊಂದ್ಸರಿ ಮಕ್ಳಿಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಾಗ ಸೇಮ್ ಅವ್ರು ಆತರ ಬಳಸಿ ತರ್ತಾ ಇದಾರೆ ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ಸ್ಗೆಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಅವಾಗ ಅದನ್ನ ಇಂಪ್ರೂವೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಬರೆಯೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕಾ ಅಥವಾ ಅದನ್ನ ಪೂರ್ತಿ ಬೇಡ ಇದನ್ನ ಬರೆಯೋದು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲೇಬಾರ್ರಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಈ ಇತ್ತೀಚಿನ ದಿನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಬಹಳ ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ
ಸರ್ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಹ್ಯುಮ್ಯಾನಿಟೀಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಆಗ್ಬೋದು. ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಕಂಡಕ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್, ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಕಂಡಕ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ ವರ್ಕ್, ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಕಂಡಕ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಸರ್ವೆ ವರ್ಕ್, obtaining responses from population. You have to tabulate the data, you have to interpret the data. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಬರೋದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. Data is there, you will interpret the data, you will get the inference, you will draw the conclusion, you will draw the recommendation. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಬರೋದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಇವು ಇರ್ರೆಲವೆಂಟ್. ಈಗ ಏನಾಗತ್ತೆ, ಈಗ ಒಂದ್ ಮನೇಲಿ ಇರ್ತೀವಿ, 1,000 ಜನಕ್ಕೆ ಊಟ ಹಾಕಿದೀವಿ, 1,000 ಜನರಲ್ಲಿ ಐಸ್ ಕ್ರೀಮ್ ನ 97% ಐಸ್ ಕ್ರೀಮ್ ತಿನ್ಲೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಇದು ನೀವು ಇಂಟರ್ಪ್ರಿಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು. 92% ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಡಿಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ಟೇಕ್ ಐಸ್ ಕ್ರೀಮ್. Only 8% of the people preferred ice cream. Why? Because this is December season, cold season. It was served along with the breakfast. Therefore, 92% of the people did not prefer ice cream. This is interpretation of data, conclusion. Illi yavada avu ivu barade illa. Collect the data, conduct experiment, draw the statistics, interpret the statistics. Aste. Experimentation, field work, survey work ide barutte. Science, ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಒಂದ್ ಕಡೆ ಫಿಲಾಸಫಿ, ಹ್ಯುಮ್ಯಾನಿಟೀಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಬರ್ಬೋದು, ಅದು ಮೇ ಬಿ ರೆಲೆವೆಂಟ್, ಅದೊಂಥರ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟಿವಿಟಿನೂ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು ಒಂದೊಂದ್ಸಲ.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸರ್. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು.
ಇನ್ನೇನಾದ್ರು ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆಯಾ? ಹೌ ಟು ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡರ್ಡೈಸ್ ಕ್ವಶನೇರ್ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದಿರಾ? Before finalizing the questionnaire, please contact statistician. Very important. You have to contact a statistician before finalizing the questionnaire, because statistically you have to prove the hypothesis, especially social sciences and scientific methods. Statistically you have to prove the hypothesis, testing of hypothesis. Adukkoskara statistician is very important while framing the questionnaire. open-end questionnaire, closed-end questionnaire ಇರುತ್ತೆ. Closed-end questionnaire would be better with limited options. Too many options will lead to complication. One page ಗಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ data. It becomes complicated data, very difficult to interpret.
Sir, on behalf of Suresh sir ಅವರ ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ he has messaged and asked like ಏನು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ವ್ಯಾಲಿಡೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಡೇಟಾ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅವ್ರು ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಒನ್ಸ್ ವಿ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ದಿ ಪ್ರೈಮರಿ ಡೇಟಾ ಫ್ರಮ್ ರೆಸ್ಪಾಂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್, then what is the timeline to submit or to publish that in the form of thesis or an article? So whether when it can become outdated ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಸರ್.
Usually, when the thesis is awarded, the doctorate degree,
Yes, sir.
it is better to publish a research article within 1 year. Within 1 year or maximum science and
ಪ್ರೈಮರಿ ಡೇಟಾ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು ಯಾವಾಗ ರಿಡೆಂಡೆಂಟ್ ಆಗತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಸರ್ ಅವರು.
Sir, it depends on the subject. For example,
Okay.
ಕರೋನಾ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಅಂತ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ.
Yes, sir.
ಕರೋನಾ ಈಗ ಅವರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಡೇಟಾನ ಈಗ ಔಟ್ಡೇಟೆಡ್ 2 years
Yes, sir.
ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು 6 months ಅಲ್ಲಿ.
Okay.
ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ್ದೋ ಒಂದು ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಶಂಕರಾಚಾರ್ಯರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಒಪಿನಿಯನ್ ಡೇಟಾ,
Yes, sir.
ಫಿಲಾಸಫಿ ಆಫ್ ಶಂಕರಾಚಾರ್ಯ. You can publish after 5 years also. Nothing will happen. Outdated
ರಿಲೆವೆನ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋ.
ಆಗ್ಲೂ ರೆಲೆವೆಂಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಹಳೆ ಶಂಕರಾಚಾರ್ಯ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದು ಯಾವಾಗ 1300 years ago. Even if you say today it is relevant, not outdated.
Not outdated. Okay. Sir, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಹಾಕಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
Diseases, health issue,
Yes, sir.
ಆಮೇಲೆ ಟ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಸೊಸೈಟಿ,
Yes,
as early as possible the data should be interpreted and published.
Published immediately.
ಅಲ್ಲೂ 6 ತರ ಇದೆ. ಏನಾದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಪಬ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್, ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್, ಸಮ್ಮರಿ, ಇಂಟೀರಿಯಂ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್, ಪಾಪ್ಯುಲರ್ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್. ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಪೇಪರ್ ಕೊಡೋದೇ ಬೇರೆ, ಪಾಪ್ಯುಲರ್ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಇಂಟೀರಿಯಂ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್. ಹ್ಯೂಜ್ ಫಂಡ್ಸ್ 5 years ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರೆ ವಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಡ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ 2 years, ಇಂಟೀರಿಯಂ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್. ಮತ್ತೆ ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಫಾರ್ ರಿಸರ್ಚ್, ಟೆಕ್ನಿಕಲ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ವಿಲ್ ರೀಡ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್. ಈ ತರ ಬೇರೆ ಸಮ್ಮರಿ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅಬ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್
ಮಾಡಿದ್ರ ಪಿಪಿಟಿ.
ಸರ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಅವರೇ ಹಾಕಿರೋದು. ಸರ್, ಇಸ್ ದೇರ್ ಎನಿ ಚಾನ್ಸ್ ದಟ್ ದ ಆಸ್ಪಿರೆಂಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಡೂ ದಿ PhD research without guide under any department of university? Any of such cases of research study done in India or abroad?
Doctor of Science or Doctor of Letters you can do independently and submit to university. University ಇಲ್ಲ ಇದು ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ honorary degree. It should be extraordinary, very popular one. Some university will recognize you and they will give you honorary doctorate for your contribution.
Okay. ಸರ್, ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ರು ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಶಿವಕುಮಾರ್ ಎಸ್ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕೇಳಿಸೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಅವರು ಬರ್ದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸರ್, ಹೌ ಟು ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡರ್ಡೈಸ್ ಕ್ವಶನೇರ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಸರ್ ಅವರು.
ಅದೇ ಹೇಳಿದ್ನಲ್ಲ, ಕ್ವಶನೇರ್ಗೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಓಪನ್ ಎಂಡ್ ಕ್ವಶನೇರ್, ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ಡ್ ಎಂಡ್ ಕ್ವಶನೇರ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. It is better to frame closed end questionnaire with limited options. Too many options, as I told you, it will lead to complication. 10 options ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ the data A4 size ಇಂದ ಆಚೆ ಹೊರಟಾಗುತ್ತೆ. The examiner will say the table is too much complicated, very difficult to interpret ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ. ಲಿಮಿಟೆಡ್ ಆಪ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ದು ನೀವು ಇದು ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ಡ್ ಎಂಡ್, ಓಪನ್ ಎಂಡ್ ಕ್ವಶನೇರ್ ಕೊಟ್ರೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ಕಷ್ಟ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಅಪ್ರೋಪ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಇರ್ಬೇಕು, ಆಂಬಿಗ್ಯೂಟಿ ಇರ್ಬೇಕು ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಇರ್ಲಿ. ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡರ್ಡೈಸೇಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದೀರಾ, ನೀವು ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಮೀಟ್ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಟಿಸ್ಟಿಷಿಯನ್, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಇನ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ hypothesis should be proved or disproved with the help of statistical methods. Statistically you have to prove or disprove the hypothesis. ನಿಮ್ ಥೀಸಿಸ್ ಏನು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಹೈಪೋಥೆಸಿಸ್ ನ ಐದರ್ ಎಸ್ ಆರ್ ನೋ, ಅದೇ ಮೇನ್ ಇದಾಗ. ವೈವಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಟೈಮ್ ಇಲ್ಲ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ಸ್ ಹೈಪೋಥೆಸಿಸ್ ಕವರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡಿ ಸಾಕು ಅಂತಾರೆ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ಸ್ ಏನ್ ಬಂದಿದೆ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹೈಪೋಥೆಸಿಸ್ ಏನ್ ಬಂದಿದೆ ಹೇಳಿ, ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಥೀಸಿಸ್ ಅಂತ.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸರ್. ಆನ್ ಬಿಹಾಫ್ ಆಫ್ ದೆಮ್ ನೀವು ಎಲ್ಲ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲನೇಷನ್ ಕೊಟ್ರಿ. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸೋ ಮಚ್ ಫಾರ್ ಇಟ್ ಸರ್. ಸ್ವಾಮಿ ಸರ್.
ಸರ್ ಒಂದು clarification ಇತ್ತು.
ಹೇಳಿ.
ಸರ್ ನಂದು 2017ರಲ್ಲೇ ಅವಾರ್ಡ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತು ಸರ್.
ಹಾ.
ನಾನು 2019ರಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿಯಿಂದ ಫೀಸ್ ಕಟ್ಟಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಪಬ್ಲಿಷಿಂಗ್ಗೆ ಬುಕ್ ಪ್ರಬಂಧವನ್ನ ಪಬ್ಲಿಷ್ಗೆ ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಸರ್. ಅದು ಇನ್ನೂ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ನನಗೆ. ಅದು ಟೈಮ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ದಿನ ಆದ್ರೂ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದಲ್ವಾ ಸರ್? ಲಿಮಿಟ್ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಇದೆಯಾ?
ಏನಿಲ್ಲ ಮೇಡಮ್, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ನೀವು ಪಬ್ಲಿಷ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಬಹಳ ಸಂತೋಷನೇ. ಎಲ್ಲಾರು ಪಬ್ಲಿಷ್ ಹೇಳ್ದೆ ಕೇಳ್ದೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಏನಾರು ಗೊಂದಲ ಆದದ್ದು, ನಮ್ಗೆ ಏನಾರು ತೊಂದರೆ ಆದದ್ದು ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದಾರೆ. ಒಳ್ಳೇದು ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋದು. ಎರಡನೇದು ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿಗೆ ದುಡ್ಡು ಬರ್ತದಲ್ಲ.
ಸರ್ ಫೀಸ್ ಕಟ್ಟಿ ನಾನು ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್. ಇದು ಕೆಲಸದ ಒತ್ತಡದಲ್ಲಿ ನನಗೆ
ಇಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿ, ನಿಧಾನದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಿ, ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ನೀವ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಥೀಸಿಸ್ ಟೈಟ್ಲ್ ಹೆಂಗಿದೆ ಹಂಗೆ ಶಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಹಾಕಿ ಟೈಟ್ಲು. ಕೆಲವೆಲ್ಲ ತೆಗೆದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಒಂದ್ ಬುಕ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೆಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಓದಂಗಿರ್ಲಿ, ಥೀಸಿಸ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೆಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಓದಂಗ್ ಬೇಡ, ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಹೇಳಿ ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್, ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ ದಿ ಥೀಸಿಸ್ ಸಬ್ಮಿಟೆಡ್ ಟು ಮೈಸೂರು ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ದಿಸ್ ಇಯರ್ ಫಾರ್ PhD ಡಿಗ್ರಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ಬಟ್ ಬುಕ್ ತರಾನೇ ಬರೀರಿ ನೀವು ಅದನ್ನ. ಥೀಸಿಸ್ ತರ ಒಂಥರ ಇದಾಗತ್ತೆ.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸರ್.
ಸರ್ ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಬೇಕಾ ಸರ್ ಪಬ್ಲಿಷ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ?
ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ PhD ಥೀಸಿಸ್ ನ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ನರ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ. ಆಪ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ನರ್ಗೆ ನಾವೇನ್ ಆಪ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ ಗೊತ್ತಾ? ಥೀಸಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ರೆಕಮೆಂಡೆಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ಅವಾರ್ಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಡಾಕ್ಟರಲ್ ಡಿಗ್ರಿ. ಒಂದ್ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ತೀನಿ, ಏನ್ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ಬರೀರಿ ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀವಿ ಇವ್ರಿಗೆ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ನರ್ಗೆ. ಅದು ಸರಿ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಸರಿ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಸ್ಪೆಲ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ಮಿಸ್ಟೇಕ್ ಇದೆ, ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಗ್ರಾಮ್ಯಾಟಿಕಲ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬರೀರಿ. ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಥೀಸಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ರೆಕಮೆಂಡೆಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ಅವಾರ್ಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಡಾಕ್ಟರಲ್ ಡಿಗ್ರಿ. ಎರಡನೇದು ಥೀಸಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ರೆಕಮೆಂಡೆಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನಲ್ ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್. ಏನ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್? ಇದು ಕರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು, ಇದು ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು, ಡೇಟಾ ಅಪ್ಡೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು, ಮಾಡಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ ರೀಸಬ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ PhD. ಕಂಡೀಷನಲ್ ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ರೀಸಬ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಈ ಮೂರನೇದು ಥೀಸಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ರಿಜೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್, ಔಟ್ ರೈಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ರಿಜೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್, ಮೂರನೇ ಆಪ್ಷನ್. ನಾಲ್ಕನೇದು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ? ಥೀಸಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ರೆಕಮೆಂಡೆಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ಅವಾರ್ಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಡಾಕ್ಟರಲ್ ಡಿಗ್ರಿ, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ರೆಕಮೆಂಡೆಡ್ ದಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಮೇ ಬಿ ಪಬ್ಲಿಷ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ಬುಕ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೆಟ್ ಅಂತಾನು ಅದು ಒಂದು ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ನರನ್ನೇ ಆಗ್ತಾನೆ. ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ, ಐ ಅಪ್ರಿಶಿಯೇಟ್, ಇಟ್ ಮೇ ಬಿ ಪಬ್ಲಿಷ್ಡ್ ಇನ್, ಇಟ್ ಮೇ ಬಿ ಬ್ರಾಟ್ ಔಟ್ ಇನ್ ಬುಕ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೆಟ್ ಅಂತಾನು ಆಗ್ತಾರೆ.
ಅದೇ ಆ ತರ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದಾಗ ನಾವು ಫೀಸ್ ಕಟ್ಟೋದು ಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲಲ್ಲ ಸರ್?
ಇಲ್ಲ ಆತರ ಅದು ಏನಾಗತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಈಗ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಬರ್ದವನು ಅವ್ನು ಏನೋ ಒಂದ್ಸತಿ ಬರೆಯಲ್ಲ ಆ ತರ. ಒಂದೊಂದ್ಸತಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಏನೋ ಇರೋ ಎಲ್ಲಾರ್ಗು ಬರೀತಾ ಇರ್ತಾನೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆ ತರ ಅಂತ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ. ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿಯವರು ದುಡ್ಡು ಬರೋದನ್ನ ಎಲ್ಲೂ ಬಿಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ದುಡ್ಡು ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಎರಡನೇದು, ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಬೇಡಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾರ್ಯಾರು ಏನೇನೋ ಪಬ್ಲಿಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲ, ನೀವು ಕೇಳ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಏನು ಇಲ್ವಲ್ಲ, ಅಂತ ಏನೇನೋ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರೀತಿ ಆಗತ್ತೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಕೇಳಲಿ ಅಂತಿದೆ, ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಕೇಳಲಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಇದನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿ ಅಂತಿದೆ. ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿಗೂ ದುಡ್ಡು ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ನೀವು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ಒಳ್ಳೇದು. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್. ಮತ್ತೆ ನಿಮ್ ಥೀಸಿಸ್ ನ ಶೋಧಗಂಗಾ ಡೇಟಾಬೇಸ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ, ಜ್ಞಾಪಕ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿರಿ. ಡೇಟಾಬೇಸ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಆನ್ ಓಪನ್ ಪ್ಲಾಟ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್. ನಾವು ಲೈಬ್ರರಿ ನಾವೇನೇ ಅಪ್ಲೋಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅದನ್ನ. ಯುವರ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ಸಿಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಟ್ ಹೋಮ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಡೌನ್ಲೋಡ್ ದಿ ಥೀಸಿಸ್. ಯಾಕೆ ಓಪನ್ ಫ್ರೀ ಇದೆ, ಇಂಟರ್ನೆಟ್ ಫೆಸಿಲಿಟಿ ಇದ್ರೆ ಆಯ್ತು. ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಗೆಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಪ್ರಿಂಟೆಡ್, ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಗೆಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಬೌಂಡ್, ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಮೇಕ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ರೆಡ್ ಇಂಕ್, ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಗಿವ್ ಇಟ್ ಟು ಎನಿಬಡಿ. ಭಾರಿ ಕೇರ್ಫುಲ್ ಆಗಿರಿ. ಮೊನ್ನೆ ಯಾವ್ದೋ ಒಂದು ಥೀಸಿಸ್ ನನಗೆ ಒಬ್ಬ ತಂದ್ಕೊಟ್ಟ. ಏನ್ ಅವ್ರ ಮೇಸ್ಟರ್ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ದು ಕರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ನಂಬರ್ 1 2 3 4 ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು 292 ಕರೆಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ವಿತ್ ರೆಡ್ ಇಂಕ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ತಂದ್ಕೊಟ್ಟ. ನೋಡಿ ಸರ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ ಅಂತ. ನಾವು ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇಟ್ವಿ, ಏನಾರು ನೋಡಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಏನಾರು ಬೈದವ್ರು ಯಾಕೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರ ಥೀಸಿಸ್ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅಂತ. ಬಾರಿ ಕೇರ್ಫುಲ್ ಆಗಿರೋದು. ಥೀಸಿಸ್ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇದ್ರು ನಡೀತದೆ. ಸ್ಪೆಲ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ಮಿಸ್ಟೇಕ್ಸ್, ಗ್ರಾಮ್ಯಾಟಿಕಲ್ ಮಿಸ್ಟೇಕ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಯಾವನ್ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ಕಂಡಿಡ್ಕೋತಾನೆ. ಬಾರಿ ಕೇರ್ಫುಲ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೇಕು. ಥೀಸಿಸ್ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ ಅಷ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ, ಫೈಂಡಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಅಷ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ, ಏನೋ 40% ಇತ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾರು ಏನೋ ಕೇಳಲ್ಲ. ಅಲ್ಲೇನಾದ್ರು 100 ಗ್ರಾಮ್ಯಾಟಿಕಲ್ ಮಿಸ್ಟೇಕ್ಸ್ ಇತ್ತು, ಸ್ಪೆಲ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ಮಿಸ್ಟೇಕ್ಸ್ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾರು ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ಕಂಡಿಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಯಾವ್ದೋ ಒಂದು ಥೀಸಿಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೀಡ್ ಸ್ಪೆಲ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ಏನು ಬರೀಡ್ ಸ್ಪೆಲ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ಬರೀಡ್ BORRID ಹಾಕಿದ್ದ, BORID ಸಿಂಗಲ್ ಆರ್. ಅವನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಎವ್ರಿವೇರ್ ಫಾರ್ ದಿ ವರ್ಡ್ ಬರೀಡ್ ಡಾಕ್ಟರೇಟ್ ಡಿಗ್ರಿ ಮೇ ಬಿ ಅವಾರ್ಡೆಡ್ ಅಂತ. ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಕಡೆ ಕರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ರೀಸಬ್ಮಿಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ PhD ಕೊಡಿ. ಬರೀಡ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಜಿಯಾಲಜಿ ಥೀಸಿಸ್ ಬರೀಡ್ ಅನ್ನೋದೇ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ನು, ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಸ್ಕಾಲರ್ಗೆ ಸ್ಪೆಲ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದ ಅವನು. buried, double R ಅಲ್ಲ, single R, BURIED, buried.
ಸರ್ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ, ಇದು ವಿದೇಶಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಮೇಲೆ PhD ಅವಾರ್ಡ್ ಕೊಡುವ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಇದೆಯಾ ಸರ್? ಈಗ ಒಂದು ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ಮೇಲೆ ನಾವು ಒಂದು 7-8 ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಅದನ್ನೇ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿಗೆ ಸಬ್ಮಿಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅವಾರ್ಡ್ ಅಂತ ಕೊಡುವ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಇದೆಯಾ ವಿದೇಶಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ವಿದೌಟ್ ಥೀಸಿಸ್?
ಅದು ಮಾಡೋದ್ ಬೇಡ ಸರ್, ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿ ಅವನು ದುಡ್ಡು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿ ಡಾಲರ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಬಿಡ್ತಾನೆ, ನೀವು ಡಾಲರ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ದುಡ್ಡು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತೀರಾ. ಮೈಸೂರೆಲ್ಲ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟದಾಗ ಅವನು ಈಕ್ವಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಕಮಿಟಿಗೆ ತಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಇದು ಯಾವ್ದು ಸರ್ ಕೊಡಿ ನಿಮ್ ಥೀಸಿಸ್ ಅಂತ, ನೀವು ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಕೊಟ್ರೆ ಥೀಸಿಸ್ ಕೊಡಿ ಸರ್, ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಏನು ಪ್ರಯೋಜನ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ. ಅವನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ ಒಂದು $600 ಕೊಡಿ ಅಂತ, ಹೇಳಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ದುಡ್ಡು ಆಯ್ತಾ $600?
ಆತರ ಇದೆ ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವಿದೇಶಗಳಲ್ಲಿ?
ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಸುಮ್ನೆ ಒಂಥರ ಮನಿ ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ರಾಕೆಟ್
ಅಷ್ಟೇ.
ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಕಡೆನೂ ಇದು ಸುಮ್ನೆ ಹಂಗೆ ದುಡ್ಡು ಕೊಟ್ರು ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ PhD.
Swami sir, I think ಯಾರ್ದು ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಐ ರಿಕ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಸ್ವಾಮಿ ಸರ್ ಟು ಡೂ ದಿ ವೋಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್.
ಓಕೆ ಸರ್. ಸರ್ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ CP ರಾಮಶೇಷ್ ರವರು ಇಂದು ನಮಗೆ ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಎಥಿಕ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಪ್ಲಾಗರಿಸಮ್ ವಿಷಯದ ಕುರಿತು ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸವನ್ನು ನೀಡಿದರು. ಶ್ರೀ ಇತರು 2 ವಿಷಯಗಳ ಮೇಲೆ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸವನ್ನು ಮೌಲಿಕವಾದ ಹಾಗೂ ಸೂಕ್ಷ್ಮವಾದ ಒಳನೋಟಗಳಿರುವ ವಿಷಯಗಳನ್ನು ಬಹಳ ಸೊಗಸವಾಗಿ ನಿರೂಪಿಸಿದರು. ಕೃತಿಚೌರ್ಯ ಎಂಬುದು ಕಾನೂನು ಬಾಹಿರ ಮಾತ್ರವಲ್ಲ, ಅನೈತಿಕ ಕೂಡ. ಅಲ್ಲದೆ ಸಂಶೋಧನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನೈತಿಕತೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಪ್ರಧಾನ ಪಾತ್ರ ವಹಿಸುತ್ತದೆ ಎಂದು ಹಲವು ಉದಾಹರಣೆಗಳೊಂದಿಗೆ ತಿಳಿಸಿಕೊಟ್ಟರು. ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ CP ರಾಮಶೇಷ್ ರವರು ನನ್ನ ವೈಯಕ್ತಿಕವಾಗಿ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಬಲ್ಲೆ, ಏಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ನನ್ನ ಸಂಶೋಧನೆಯ ಮಾರ್ಗದರ್ಶಕರು. ಇವರಿಂದ ನಾನು ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಕಲಿತಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ಇಂದಿನ ಈ ವಿಷಯಗಳನ್ನು ಆಲಿಸುತ್ತಾ ನನಗೆ ಅವರ ಸಂಶೋಧನದ ಮಾರ್ಗದರ್ಶನದ ವೈಖರಿ ನೆನಪಿಗೆ ಬರುತ್ತಿತ್ತು. ಇಂತಹ ಅದ್ಭುತವಾದ ಹಾಗೂ ಮೌಲ್ಯಯುತವಾದ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸವನ್ನು ಏರ್ಪಡಿಸಿದ HRDC ಪರವಾಗಿ ಹಾಗೂ ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಶಿಬಿರಾರ್ಥಿಗಳ ಪರವಾಗಿಯೂ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ CP ರಾಮಶೇಷ್ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಅನಂತ ವಂದನೆಗಳನ್ನು ಅರ್ಪಿಸುತ್ತೇನೆ.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಅನಂತ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ವೆರಿ ಮಚ್.
Thank you sir. Thank you so much sir.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸರ್.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸರ್.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸರ್.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir.
I think HRDC ಇಂದ ಇನ್ನ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೋತೀನಿ.
ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಮುಗೀತು ಕಾಣಿಸುತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ಲ?
ಹಾ, ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಸರ್, ಸೆಷನ್ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಬಟ್ ಅದೇ HRDC ಇಂದ ಅವರು
ಅಲ್ಲಲ್ಲ, ನಾನು ಇದ್ದೆ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಬಟ್ ಈಗ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವರು ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತವಾ?
ಹಾ, ಅವರು ರೆಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಈ HRDC ಇಂದ. ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ನಂಜುಂಡ ಸ್ವಾಮಿ ಸರ್ ಅಥವಾ ಮಂಜುಳಾ ಮೇಡಮು ಅಥವಾ ಇನ್ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಬರ್ಬೇಕು.
5 ಗಂಟೆಗೆ ಇನ್ನೂ 1 ನಿಮಿಷ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಸರ್ ನಾಗೇಶ್ ಸರ್.
ಹಾ ಹಾ ಸರ್, ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ.